Hey folks, welcome to another video of Code Rash with Gaurav. In this video, we are going to do some vibe coding and build a chat-based application talking to a large language model in local. This video is a continuation of our previous video where we learned how to use Ollama platform in local to run a large language model. In our previous video, we had our REST API already done which can serve the chat application. If you have not watched that video, I recommend watching that first before this one. The link is in the information icon and the description. So let's get started and vibe code together. And if you are enjoying and learning new concepts, do subscribe to the channel. There are many sophisticated and integrated tools for vibe coding like Cursor and Windsurf. But for this video, we will use the bare minimum and free-to-use tools like VS Code for coding and ChatGPT for code generation and AI help. I have created a blank folder for our project with the name Vibe Coding Chatbot. Let's navigate to the folder and open command prompt at this location. From here, we are going to open VS Code with the command code dot. This is a blank slate we are going to start from. All we know right now is that we have an API we can invoke. It takes a few parameters, and we need to write a chat UI for this. There is some image of the UI in our mind, as our inspiration for this UI can be the ChatGPT interface itself. As a recap from our last video, let us look at the API we can invoke in detail. We know the endpoint, and we know that it takes a few parameters like model, prompt, and a stream flag. Let us give it a test run and see in what format are we getting the response back. So we get an object and the data we are interested in showing to the user is in the response key. Alright, now let's get started and get back to our blank state. Here is a most valuable lesson for us. The more well-constructed and context-aware your prompt to any GPT will be, the better are the chances that you will get what you need. If you have heard from folks around you that tools like Copilot or ChatGPT don't help them write code and they always get stuck, it is mainly because they are missing prompt engineering. So in this video, we are going to spend a good amount of time in writing the prompt in a well-defined format. The prompt should include mainly the role or persona who is doing the task which ChatGPT is asked to do. What is to be done as a well-defined outcome, maybe bullet points, and what are the constraints. Now try to relate this to our everyday life. If we get a very well-defined acceptance criteria and a user story, the code we write is more meaningful and there are more chances of its success. Otherwise, we all know it can be a hell of back and forth between product owners and developers. The same goes with any GPT. Define what you need in detail. So here we are telling in the prompt the requirement in detail, like the API we need to invoke, what parameters it takes, and what are its values. So that code can be written according to it, and there is very less edits on the generated code we need to do later. Not everything is going to be perfect in our first attempt, but we can improve on top of it gradually. So far, we have given the parameter details into the prompt and its values like how the user prompt should be added to the API payload. Now let's add some details on how we want the UI to look like and behave. Let's add some feature list and overall appearance of our UI. We need features like pinning of chat, saving chat sessions, ability to create a new chat session, a full screen chat UI like ChatGPT, and with dark mode UI theme. You may think that this is too much of information that we are giving in the requirements, but trust me, the result is going to be awesome. We are describing a few more nuances about the UI, like it should show the chat bubbles for the messages for the sender and the receiver like any chat application. So far, we have described how we want the application to look like and behave. Now let's describe how we want the resulting artifacts to look like. We can build a very sophisticated React-based application with granular components, but for the sake of a demonstration and showing you how to get what you want from AI tools, I will just ask for a basic vanilla JavaScript and HTML code that I will serve over Node server. Now that our prompt is ready, which has detailed requirements, the persona, and the constraints, let's try this out. I am going to head to the ChatGPT interface and just submit this prompt. Let's see what do we got. We got an index HTML, most of the application logic in app.js, some styling, and that's it for the code. We also got the steps to bootstrap the application. We got the folder structure, npm commands, and this can act as a basic scaffolding for our project. Let's try this out. Let's get back to our blank folder in VS Code, and since this is going to be a Node.js based project, let's initialize our project with npm init command. As we are going to serve the static content over a locally running Node.js server, let's add Express to our project. And here it is added to the dependencies automatically. Now let's create a public folder to serve the static content. I'm creating index.html inside this folder. Let's also verify if we are going according to the scaffolding provided by ChatGPT. This would need a correction. Looks like ChatGPT suggests to serve index outside of the public folder. Let's do it that way. Let's create the files we need in public folder, app.js and style.css. Let's also create a server.js file outside of the public folder. We are going to dump the exact same content into these files as generated by ChatGPT. Let's do that one by one for each file, starting with server.js, then app.js, then style.css, and finally index.html. And that's it. We are done with coding. Time to try this out. Let's start the Express server, which will start a local server on the port 3000. And here we are. We got a full viewport UI, a ChatGPT-like side panel, and a chat area. Now is the time to test if our effort of detailing the prompt was worth it or not. To test if our integration with the API works, or we will need some correction. I'm just sending a hi message to the model. Let's see if we get anything. Amazing, our integration works. That's prompt engineering for you. Not perfect, but not bad as well. Here a new chat is given a system name which is not looking good. Let's try out another message. Another problem surfaces out from a message for which our model has to think. There is no indication to the user that the system is processing the message. In a usual chat application, we get to see if the other person is typing. Let's also test a new chat session feature. So it does create a new session where I start from an empty conversation. Another problem surfaces out that I don't see the new chat session in the side panel till the conversation starts, and I get a response from the model. One more important feature will be to persist our chat sessions. Right now, if I refresh, my chat sessions would be lost. Let's correct these problems, where we are going to add fixes on top of the existing code, rather than starting from scratch, as our code assistant already has the whole context. We are asking ChatGPT to persist the chat sessions in the local storage for demonstration, which ideally would be stored in a database via an API later. Also, let's auto-name each session like how ChatGPT does. We will take the first few words of the first message in the chat to name a session. ChatGPT now gives us an incremental change on app.js. Let's just copy and paste the file. It also explains what part of the code got changed with these fixes and what should we update in the code. Let's just replace the content in our code and restart our app. A restart was probably not required here, but let's just do it. just to add a human touch to the vibe coding. Let's first test the auto-naming fix. It initially starts with a system name. Let's send a message to test. What is a black hole? Explain in a sentence. And send. Model thinks for a longer while now. Maybe to summarize such a complex topic. After we get a response, the chat session correctly auto-names itself. There's still a scope of improving it. The auto-naming could have happened even before receiving the model's response. You might have noticed, now after I refresh the chats are persisted. Let's try out another chat and see the auto-naming. We still have to fix the other issue, where user gets no clue about the message being processed by the system. Let's fix that. Let us ask ChatGPT to incrementally add a fix on top of the existing code to show a typing message while we are waiting for the model to respond. We got a differential update on our app.js where the send message function is improved. Let's just replace send message function and try this out. We are going to find the send message function and replace it with the new content. Let's just restart our app and try this out. Refresh persists our chats, so that's great. Let us send a message to see our fix in motion. Let us just send a hi and here we go. We see a message that our model is typing. This can further be improved. We could show an animating bubble, or we can also stream the response and start showing the partial responses to the user like how ChatGPT does. Let's do a recap of what we did. We had an API to talk to the model. We spent good enough time in writing the prompt, and as a result of that our output was much more closer to the end result. All of this in just 10 minutes. Now that we have a basic version ready, what would you like to improve on top of it? We could write a backend to persist our chats. There could have been a landing welcome page to greet the user and suggest some prompts based on the conversation history. We could stream the responses, and also we could build the app code in a more sophisticated way using React or some other framework. Hope you have enjoyed this vibe coding session. See you in the next one. What would want to build next? Tell me in the comments and we shall try that out. And always remember, a right prompt can be a differentiator between you and others.